All right. Got it. All right, welcome everyone to the Virginia Plastic Pollution Prevention Network meeting. Here we are in November, finally. If you all are anything like Katie or I, we're all tearing our hair out right now as the end of the year, everything approaches, but we're glad that you all could make it today. I think we have a couple of new people here today. So just a brief overview of the Virginia Plastic Pollution Prevention Network. This is a network that Katie with Clean Virginia Waterways and myself with Ecomaniac Company, and then with the support of the Virginia Coastal Zone Management Program, we started this back in 2020. We thought it would be very beneficial for organizations around the state of Virginia that are working on the issue of plastic pollution to have a way to communicate with each other, to inspire coordination and collaboration, things like that, on fighting this plague of plastic pollution. So we do have a website, VA Plastic Pollution Prevention Network.org. We also have a Facebook page that you can and your organization can follow for any updates. And then we're trying to do a monthly newsletter as well, but we do need your input with upcoming events, job openings, news, exciting things regarding plastic pollution. So Katie, did you have anything to add to that?
Just as you said, we do need your input for the newsletter. So please, whenever you know of something that's plastic pollution related, upcoming conferences, please let us know. And as we didn't get a newsletter out this month.
It's still in process.
Right.
So you have a couple of days. I probably won't get to it till Friday. So if anyone has anything to add to it, yes, because we do have a couple of things, but I didn't get any input. So I've been struggling trying to find content for it.
Right. So if you know of anything, go ahead and send it to us. One thing I will mention that will be in the newsletter when we get it out is my organization, Clean Virginia Waterways, is got a job opening, a director level, and it's full-time with full benefits. And if you are interested, send me an email and I'd be happy to give you the link that explains everything that we're looking for. So just a pitch for that.
Thank you. All right, so for those of you just joining us, please make sure you sign in the chat room so we have a record of everyone that was here today, and also just a reminder that you are being recorded. We do try to get these conversations on the website for members only to take a look at after the fact if you've missed the meeting or if you want to go back and review things. I haven't gotten October up there yet. Forgive me, I do a retail business and it is November. So I'm trying to get things done as quickly as I can. Anyway, so we don't have a main topic this month, but we do have several updates and conversations from some of our members. So we are going to start with Kelly Dennings with the Center for Biological Diversity. And take it away, Kelly. Can you share your screen?
I can.
Awesome.
And hopefully you're hearing me. Sounds like you are. Great. Well, I'm going to run through a presentation and there's a little bit of interaction in this. So hopefully you will enjoy that and participate with me. But my pronouns are she and her, and I'm a campaigner with the Center for Biological Diversity. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you. I have 15 years of working in waste, forestry, and conservation before I got a master's in public health. So for just a quick summary, if you're not familiar with the center, we're a national nonprofit conservation organization that works through a combination of science, the law, organizing, and creative media to protect wildlife and the wild places they need to thrive. So on the screen, you're seeing all of our different programs, and I'm in the Population and Sustainability program. So why are we here today to talk about simplifying our holidays? Well, the United States is 5% of the world's population, but uses 30% of all resources and creates 30% of all waste. The average American has an environmental footprint 60% larger than most Europeans and nearly 700% larger than the average person in most African countries, which is what this graph is depicting. You're probably familiar with this graph from the EPA or one specific to your community, but as we know, food and plastics are big categories on this chart, and 40% of waste is thrown away, and we generate a lot of that during the holidays. And as for plastics, 40% of plastic produced is packaging, which is often used just once and then discarded, and this also increases during the giving season. So as I said, I've been in this work for a while, and I remember 20 years ago hearing this statistic that we generate more waste during the holidays, and I could not find the citation for it, and I wasn't sure if it was still accurate. Well, hot off the presses, we did an analysis this summer, and we found that Americans generate 23% more tons of waste in December than other months of the year. So we've created a bunch of shareables like the one you're seeing on the screen. We would love to get this in your newsletter, and I will give a link to where you can grab some of these shareables in the rest of my talk. So we published a report in 2020 based off almost 1,000 national survey responses, and through that we learned that 3 out of 4 people in the United States think the average American consumes too many natural resources. In that same survey, we asked people about their current behaviors and their willingness to change their behavior. And 67% say they're currently reducing their personal consumption, and 82% are willing to do that, but 31% need more information. So hopefully all of us in this collective are working towards that goal. But I just want to say it isn't necessarily that cut and dry. So I'm sure you've heard of the recent supply chain issues, whether that's the combination of workers sick with COVID, lack of shipping containers, labor shortages, or natural disasters caused by climate change. It's all contributing to this thinking that traditional material gifts are going to be hard to find this year. So you might also know about this graphic. It's from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, but it kind of depicts what we're talking about here when we think about the supply chain. The real crux of the issue is transportation. So there's transportation issues along all of these graphics here. So experts are predicting that we're going to have supply chain issues even for those environmentally friendly gifts. They may be difficult, right? So your bikes, electric vehicles, energy efficient appliances, durable clothes are going to be hard to find also. And according to this survey, this came out just last week, consumers are going to spend almost $1,500 on gifts, travel, and entertainment during this season. And that's a 13% increase from pre-pandemic 2019 holiday seasons. And in 2021, the majority of holiday shoppers say they're going to favor companies with strong environmental, social, and governance business practices. And 56% say they're going to buy more from local and independent stores. So the supply chain issues may jumpstart some systemic alterations to how we produce and consume goods that last beyond the season. And we need to look for new business models that shift to these closed material loops, things like extended producer responsibility or the solidarity economy. And I don't need to tell folks on this call that waste systems built around reuse, refill, repair, borrowing, sharing, finally recycling and composting create good local jobs and resilient, equitable communities. And I know next month you're going to talk about reuse, which is awesome. But this is a both end situation. So not only do we need to change systems level issues, we want to work at the individual level to instill societal norms, nourish connection, community, sustainability, to build a healthy and diverse community. So I want to share with you some ideas that you can do to improve that by walking through the campaigns on the screen. But I just want to acknowledge that when we talk about consumption and we do this with an equitable lens, some folks might need to consume less. Some may just need to consume differently. And for others, even in the United States, people may need to consume more. And that may be in relationship to food, clothing, and shelter, but it could also be things in relationship that would bring them joy. So we call this conscious consumption. All right, so I hope you take the time to go through these websites while I'm talking so that you can actually kind of play around in them. But I wanted to kind of ask, before I go any further, you know, type in the chat, what emotion comes up for you when you think of the holidays? And I will give it a few minutes here, or seconds, I guess. What emotion comes up when you think about the winter holidays? Busy, but family, emotion, money, spending. It's relaxing, friends and family, time off. All right, well, thank you for indulging me in that. When people talk about why they love the holidays, they usually describe spending time with friends and family, which we saw, eating good food, having fun, and relaxing. So you guys were spot on right there. So we really think it's time to celebrate holidays wrapped in more meaning and less stuff. So hopefully our Simplify the Holidays website can provide you with various tools and resources to create a low waste holiday tradition in your home, or have information to share with others. So again, we'd love for you to put this in your newsletters, community members, share with students, employees. So let me go ahead and this URL in the chat, and feel free to peruse that while I'm talking. So on the website, you're going to find gift guides, information about creating earth-friendly traditions, deep dives into various holiday seasons. Under the better gift giving section, you'll find how to talk to your family about this when you want to do an alternative gift exchange, or different ways of doing alternative gift exchange. And then a lot of information about experiential gift giving, which was part of my master's thesis. So on the gift guides, you're going to link to various Pinterest pages. So if you're familiar with those, that has tons of different creative ideas. And as I mentioned it before, you know, we really hope that you take the opportunity to support your local businesses, those owned by women, Black, Indigenous, people of color, or support your local reuse organizations to help build these circular economy solutions. So really quickly, on the Pinterest page, you're going to find DIY handmade gift ideas. These are examples from my coworker, Sarah. This does not happen to be a category for me. I am not a crafty person, but we've got dryer lint balls, a repurposed desk, and a t-shirt quilt that she has made. This next category is quality time and skill sharing. So you're seeing a list of some of these ideas on the screen. Honestly, research shows that the gift of time is extremely valuable to people. So I would think about this as an alternative gift that, you know, means you don't have to buy a material gift. Also on the site, you'll find Pinterest guides to learn about charitable gift giving. So I'm sure many of us are with nonprofits here. You could think about making a donation to your favorite, you know, plastics-free organization. But yeah, this is an analysis we did about giving a plush toy versus actually driving to a wildlife center. And you can see here that there's less CO2 generated, even though you'll be driving to a wildlife center. So an experience, I just want to say, does not have to be a big trip. That's where a lot of people's minds go when you think about giving an experiential gift, but it could be a gift card to a museum or a national park membership, cooking or art classes, maybe just being, you know, a tourist in your own city for one day. Finally, edible gifts. You know, who doesn't love this? We kind of sometimes call these consumables. So, you know, cookies, favorite comfort food, or maybe that special bottle of organic wine. But this is an analysis we did between, you know, providing somebody a steak dinner, and up to 7 plant-based meals. And of course, we see much less CO2 emitted with the plant-based meals. Another website we have that you can play around in is So Kind, and I'm gonna put that in the chat also. So this is a registry or wish list service. It is fully customizable that allows you to request gifts that are truly meaningful to you. So as you can see on the screen, you can pick from these different categories that I was kind of describing before from the Simplify the Holidays site, but this also includes a secondhand gift as an option. And since this was created in 2013, 15,000 alternative gifts have been given. This happens to be an example of a wish list that I created. And so this is kind of what you share with somebody when your mother-in-law says, what do you want for Christmas, right? So it's just like a wedding registry, but you can pick and choose what you want. I will say that no money exchanges hands on this site. So if you want an experience of like going to a museum, then you would want to link to the museum's website and put that in here so that people could buy you that experience. All right, and then on the site, you can also create a give list. So this is essentially a reverse registry function that allows people to know what skills, hobbies, or things that you're willing to share with others. So you can kind of see how you're with a request and give function. This is similar to now Free Cycle or Buy Nothing groups, but it really is geared towards celebration gift giving. It has a different look and feel for that purpose. And those are often very hyper local, but you know, these could be done on a national basis. You don't need to necessarily be based in the same geography. So I just want to end by sharing a personal story with you. And this is going to show the privilege that I had as a child. But for me, I have a family that loves to shop. In fact, my mom and dad met at Macy's. They worked together in New York. And so I grew up in retail and I was dressing mannequins and stocking store shelves as a child. And the picture of me that you'll see in the little dress with Christmas trees behind me was at a time when my dad actually owned and operated a Christmas store. So asking my family not to buy gifts was a real shift. And you can see all of the items around me as a child during Christmas on the other photo. Well, in 2019, I created an online wish list and I shared that with my family. And my mom did a great job giving me an experiential gift, despite all the barriers of not living in the same area. So it really does show that if one is motivated enough and has the right tools, it can be done. And if you look at the picture with my niece and mother-in-law on this slide, you know, you can see that there's a lot less waste. And I'm kind of really proud of that I have brought that to my family's Christmas experiences. So while we do need to change policy that would make it easier to consume consciously through durable and repairable goods, through improved corporate transparency, and while we need policy to build a circular economy that supports sharing, borrowing, and reuse, and we need to require companies to be accountable for the ultimate disposal of the products and packaging they put out, individuals do have a role to play. So make a pledge this afternoon to give one or more alternative gifts this holiday season. And social science shows that when you make that pledge public, it is more likely that you're going to follow through. So if you want to do that, feel free to type into the chat, I pledge to give one or more experiential or alternative gifts. All right, so on this resource slide, you're seeing some of the links that I've already shared, both of the websites. We also are looking for additional testimonials to put on our site, so I will throw that in the chat. And the different social media shareables. So these would be great for newsletters and social media accounts. It includes the pictures, the graphics that are in the presentation, but also draft posts. And yeah, and then finally, if you're interested in keeping up to date on this type of work from the center, you can opt in to various periodic emails. So I am going to put all of those in the chat right now. And I see some people pledging to give alternative gifts. Yeah, hopefully I didn't take too much time. I tried to rush it a little bit.
That was great.
Thank you, Kelly. That was awesome. And I own a retail business and I get it. I totally get it. I actually, it's not unusual for me to talk people out of things because, you know, they're just not buying it for the right reason. Everything I sell is eco-friendly and it's an alternative to plastic, but sometimes people are just looking for anything, you know, and they'll just pick up anything that they think that person might like. And, you know, you gotta kind of encourage them to not buy things that that person's not actually going to use, because then the whole thing is pointless.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great. I'll definitely put it in our newsletter and share it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
especially excited about the social media shareables for all of us who run websites or Facebook pages. I think that those shareables are great. I can't wait to take a look at them. Thank you, Kelly.
No, thank you. Thank you all. This is awesome. And I do, you know, I've been giving a number of these now, and I do want to say, if you're going to shop, please shop local. So kudos to you, Christina, and women owned, you know, even somebody caught me on that the other day. They're like, what about women owned businesses? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, what we can do is wait till the end, make sure everybody gets their updates in, and then we can have a discussion time with whatever our leftover time is. So if anyone has questions for Kelly, you can go ahead and either put them in the chat room right now and she can answer them that way, or we'll chat afterwards. So our next speaker is Dean, and I'm sorry, Dean, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name. Could you fill me in, help me out here?
Yeah, Dean Naix, Potomac Riverkeeper. I work for Potomac Riverkeeper Network.
Thank you. All right, Dean, and you're going to talk about our state commission.
Yeah, I mean, and Katie, feel free to jump in. Thank you for your presentation, Kelly. I'm good friends with Hannah Connor, who just moved up to Richmond from Florida. So love what you guys do.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, basically, it's probably no secret, but I just thought it was worth calling attention to that. You know, last year, the creation of the Virginia Plastic Waste Prevention Advisory Council was created, and they had 3 meetings, and several people in the community attended some of those. Katie went to most of them. I wasn't able to get to the very last one. I was just dealing with some stuff, but they met in July, August, September. We went to the September meeting, and there's not much I would say that's coming out of their report that's going to the General Assembly in Virginia and the governor. I think really what I wanted to flag for most people, and I'm Katie, if you want to jump in on that report, feel free. I just wanted to really flag that this council is going to be meeting 6 times next year. And at the end of that, in January 1, 2023, this council is going to make recommendations to the Virginia General Assembly and to the new governor, Youngkin. And I'll be perfectly honest, I was very hopeful about influencing the outcome of this report, and that's still the goal of my organization and what we're doing. But then obviously the elections came around, and I was pretty crushed and heartbroken over it, wondering, really, do we have much of a opportunity to influence anything meaningful in the state of Virginia in terms of cutting down on single-use plastics and stuff like that? I think some of the environmental community is very concerned that there'll be direct attacks on rolling back, like Governor Northam's, single-use plastics mandate and other things like the plastic bag fee. But at the same time, I'm just looking at this, and it's been frustrating because, like, the delegate and the senator, like Chap Peterson, who was appointed to serve on this, has not even attended any of these meetings. Chap Peterson voted against the styrofoam ban. So we have that was the idea of, at least of us getting involved in the issue of plastics, was that we have Northern Virginia lawmakers who are Democrats that say they're environmentalists, but are voting very wrong on the issue of plastics and plastic pollution. And that was really starting to bother me a lot, that we had to do something more to put pressure and on members of this, at least the delegates up here in this region. But that was where the whole idea of us getting involved in the plastics issue started. And I just see this as an opportunity. This advisory council is going to put out a report, whether we like it or not. And they're going to make recommendations on things that Virginia could be doing more to address plastic pollution. It's stacked with industry people, even the academia people that are on the council have a lot of ties to the plastic and the industry, or the bottling industry. And so we have our challenges, but I thought it was really important to mention that we feel it's still worthwhile to work and show up at those meetings and bring people to those meetings. We've been starting to work on engaging youth, and we brought them to the last meetings, and I thought it had a very positive effect on, like, the chair, who's really interested to see, like, these younger people who took time out of their day, drove all the way down to Richmond, took a day off to let them know that they care deeply about this issue. And so we're going to keep putting pressure and trying to influence the outcome of this report. I'm happy to work with anybody who wants to work on that and support us in that effort. But I just felt it was worth mentioning that that report is going to come out January 2023. And we have an opportunity over next year to influence the outcome of that report, and hopefully get some strong recommendations for EPR, other things that we would like to see to reduce and eliminate plastic waste pollution that, at least for me, is a serious water pollution issue, but it causes a lot of other problems, as you're all well aware. So that's all I have to add. Serena or Katie, if you want to add anything to that, please do, but I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Thank you very much, Dean. Yeah, I attended the August meeting of the Virginia Plastic Waste Prevention Advisory Council, missed the September one, and then was at the October one, same as Dean and a few others. Yes, they plan on meeting 6 times next year. There's talk of moving the meeting around the state so that it'll be easier for stakeholders, for the public to come and speak, because the August and September and October meetings were all in person in Richmond, and you had to be there to comment, which was, I thought, disappointing that in this day and age, there was not a means for electronic attendance. The thing I'll be watching for most in the next year is that they actually deal with prevention. What I heard so far this year, and to be fair, they only met basically August, September, October, and then their report was due November 1st. So they didn't have a lot of time. Some of them have a steep learning curve about the world of plastic pollution. So as Dean said, their first report is got some interesting things, like we need more data and we need to help restaurants with the phase out of polystyrenes. And I agree with that. Restaurants need help understanding the law and how to implement it. But what I'm really watching next year is that they deal with prevention. I'm concerned that too much of the committee is talking about recycling as if that is the only way we're going to get out of this problem. And as we all know, we cannot recycle our way out of the plastic pollution problem. We've got to turn the faucet off. And at the end of the last meeting in October, Dean made some remarks, I made some remarks, some of the young people that were there with the Potomac River Keepers made some remarks. And I hope the committee heard that their mandate is prevention, elimination, not just let's keep making it and let's figure out how to better recycle it, because that puts the whole burden on the communities and on the consumer as opposed to the producers. So that's what I'll be watching for in the next year. And And you did say there's a few other people on the call today who were also at that meeting. I'm trying to look through the list. Yeah, Serena, I don't know if she wanted to add something.
I am here. Sorry that my camera is broken right now. I think Dean and Katie, you said it very well. I guess I am kind of a young person, and I was there to make a bit of a comment. To say further that what we know that they're going to say, which is that they need more of this research to say that we have a problem when the problem is right in front of our eyes. So that is something that we're not going to relent on. We're going to keep bringing people to these meetings to say what the truth is that we have a massive pollution problem, not only in our watershed that we represent, but all over the state.
Yeah, and Serena's 25, so she is very young. And but I think that's a strength that we have here. Is one of the things that we want to do is build kind of a youth coalition on plastics, and we're putting the pieces together for that. So if none of you are going to show up and you can't get involved, and you're already maxed out on everything you're doing, if you have young people that really care about this issue and want to get involved, we're finding them everywhere. I think this to me is a critical opportunity to engage people, to put pressure on decision makers. And the targets are very limited. You know, it's not like legislation, it's moving from one committee to the next. And then, you know, we're chasing this all around. We have about 4 or 5 people that we really need to influence. And 2 of them are lawmakers. And, you know, so I just feel like we have that opportunity. We'll do the best that we can. But, you know, anybody who's done this work long enough knows that if you get a good report, that's like a legislative type of report, you can use pieces of that report for years to come to advocate for the policies and positions that you want, right? And if you get a bad report and the other side is using that report in a very negative way to, you know, distract from the real issues or minimize what you're saying about the threats of plastic pollution or whatever it is, that's incredibly damage that can be used against us for many, many years to come. And that's my biggest concern, is that if the environmental community as a whole doesn't recognize at least the opportunity to try and get a good report out of this, even if we think Youngkin and the General Assembly are not going to do anything about it in the short term, I still think that report provides value if it's a good report to the environmental community as a whole, for media, for outreach, our campaigns, and all the policies that we want to promote over the next 5 years, 10 years now on plastic pollution. So I'm just going to put that out there and I'll stop talking, but thank you for giving us the opportunity. And I hope to see that you all get involved in this issue, or with the council a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. And thank you, Serena. I especially thank Serena for mentioning more research. We did hear some of the plastic industry people at the last meeting talk about how there's not enough data, and the rest of us argued there's enough data for us to take action. And the plastic industry is also often using the term unintended consequences. And I think that's a fear tactic. They're basically trying to make people afraid of living without single-use plastics. Like, what will we do if, you know, what about the sanitation? We don't know the unintended consequences. And so those are just 2 terms, like, A, we need more research before we can take action. And there's unintended consequences. Let's not go too fast. We need to have counter arguments for both of those, because we heard a lot of that already, and I think we'll hear more. But as the network, we will let you all know about the upcoming schedule of those meetings once it's published. So thank you again, Dean. And now I guess back to you, Christina.
Thank you. Katie, actually, you are next on the agenda for your big announcement.
Okay, yeah. So those of you who have attended our meetings for the last few months know that there's been a large group of stakeholders that started to meet in 2020 and continued to meet in 2021 to update the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan. And it has been in the works for a long time. And I am super, super excited to announce that tomorrow is its official launch. Tomorrow during the Virginia Coastal Zone Management Partners Workshop, Christina and I are both speaking to the members of that workshop, and it will be announced that the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan for 2021 through 2025 is official. It's been approved by everyone who needs to approve it. This is the cover. You're seeing that okay? Yep. And as I'll just flip through a few of the pages. Nice table of contents. The front matter talks about the problem. Like this introduces the problem of marine debris and plastic pollution to the public. But the main part of this report is in the 4 goals. So I know you can't possibly read this. I'm just flipping through to get to the goal section. So the first goal of the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan focuses on single-use plastics, consumer-related things, bottles, caps, cigarette butts, all the things that are in our hands that end up inappropriately in the environment. And we know from research done by the Virginia Aquarium that about 83% of all of the trash and litter found on our beaches is made out of plastic. So there's a definite focus on consumer plastic items in this plan. Of the 4 goals, this one, the consumer category, has more actions than the other goals because it is such a huge source and it's so diverse. I mean, there's 8 million people in Virginia that are potentially contributing to this. But the other categories, the other major goals, okay, I'm a little confused which way I'm going here. Sorry. Okay, so the first goal is to deal with consumer single-use plastics. It's got 22 actions. And we will have this on our website later this week, so you can print it and read it. But the actions are looking at individual things that can be done to prevent some of these things from becoming debris and waste. We also have a lot of behavior change and education and outreach, as well as legislative solutions suggested. We also call for more monitoring and research where needed. And then we also take a look at disposal issues and interception. By interception, we mostly mean the moment that a piece of litter goes from being on a street or on a sidewalk or in a parking lot and it rains and it gets to the stormwater. So we want to make sure that we have ways of intercepting that debris before it becomes aquatic, before it goes on its way to the ocean. So this is what it all looks like. And the second major goal in the plan focuses on fishing gear and aquaculture related gear. These are nets and crab pots, clam nets, the nets that are put over baby clams to keep them from being eaten by predators. So this is our second major goal. This has fewer actions. Quite honestly, it's a smaller population of people that are associated with this kind of marine debris. So that's those actions. The third major goal in the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan focuses on microplastics and microfibers. And this category is probably the one that needs the most research. And there's a lot going on, especially at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. So there's fewer actions here, mostly because we need more data. One of the things we heard from scientists who are working on this issue is, please don't pursue legislative solutions until we really know the scope of the problem. For example, not all microfibers are equal in their impact on living animals, but that's still being researched too. So in fact, here we are, the strategy for proper disposal and infrastructure when it comes to microfibers and microplastics, we don't know yet. And so we just said, this will be developed more when more research is in place. And then the same with removal of microfibers, especially from when we launder our clothes. They say the number one way that microfibers enter the environment is through the wash cycle. We wash our clothes, put them in the dryer, put them out on lines. So all of our polyester clothing, our fleeces and nylon are shedding these microfibers. But we don't have a lot of actions yet in the plan because, oops, I don't mean to edit this, sorry. We don't have a lot of actions yet for microfibers as far as legislation because we still need to do more research. And then the fourth major goal in the Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan deals with abandoned and derelict vessels. These are boats that are abandoned in the environment by people who don't want to spend the money to dispose of them correctly. And remarkably, most of these boats are mostly plastic. They're fiberglass. People started making fiberglass recreational boats about in the 70s, 80s. Those boats are now all, 30, 40, 50 years old at the end of their life. And it costs a lot of money to get a boat, especially like this one that's sunk, getting it out, getting it stripped of hazardous materials, taking out all the metal, and then cutting up the fiberglass for landfill. One of the things that we hope to do is better understand options. Right now, landfilling is the main option for old fiberglass boats, but we're working this winter to look at recycling options as well. So that's a real brief look at the new Virginia Marine Debris Reduction Plan. It will be on the Clean Virginia Waterways website in a few days, and it will be on the Coastal Zone Management Program website as well. And one page that maybe we can talk about in a future meeting, if there's interest, are the near-term actions. This is a list of 10 priority actions that have been identified to be worked on in the next 2 years. But I won't take up time right now working on or talking about that. But again, it might make a presentation in the future if there's interest. So at this point, thank you for your time, and thank you for all of you that contributed to this plan, because I know many of you sat through our workshops and filled out our surveys, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie, and congratulations.
Oh,
I'm
thank
sure
you.
this is a relief.
Oh my God, yeah. It's been a long process.
I bet. All right, Megan Quinn, you are up next.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I was curious what else you were going to do, Katie, to promote this report, to get it out into the world.
Yeah, great question. So tomorrow it's going to be announced to the partners of the Coastal Zone Management Program. We also have a press release that we've written. It's being approved by the powers that be, but we definitely want to get some media about that. And then we'll also be putting it on not only a number of Facebook pages, Clean Virginia Waterways, the Virginia Plastic Pollution Prevention, the Keep It Beachy Clean. Coastal Zone Management Program does not have a Facebook page, but Department of Environmental Quality does. So we're hoping that they will highlight this as well. If you've got other ideas, we also submitted a proposal to the Environment Virginia Conference, which is held every spring at the Virginia Military Institute. And we haven't heard yet if we've been accepted, but if so, we want to talk about it there as well. But yeah, if you've got other ideas on getting it out there, also the Virginia Conservation Network, of which we're a member, so we'll be announcing it through their water work group as well as their plastic work group.
Great. We'll chat.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. I just wanted to mention the Governor's Environmental Excellence Awards. The applications are now available. I put a link in the chat for everyone. Not sure if everyone's heard of the awards program. It's run by DEQ and the Department of Conservation and Recreation. And there are 5 categories of the awards program this year. We've got sustainability programs, which are for overarching programs that touch a lot of different areas of sustainability, and environmental projects, which is a specific project that was accomplished. And then land conservation, the Virginia Outdoors Plan implementation, and new this year for the first time, we have a Commonwealth application, which recognizes the efforts of the Executive Order 77, the single-use plastic executive order. So applications are due December 2nd, and if anyone's interested and needs a little more time to complete the application, just let me know. The awards are actually given at the same conference that Katie was just referencing, the Environment Virginia Symposium in March. So I would suggest taking a look at the awards applications if you've been up to anything special this year and consider applying. That's all.
Thanks, Megan. I am going to give a quick update on our super exciting December meeting that's coming a week early, and then we can kind of open up for questions, comments, updates, concerns, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So our December meeting is going to be a week early, and it is actually going to be a meeting that is open to the public. And we have been talking to Miriam Gordon at Upstream Solutions. She is going to be helping us out with a panel discussion about prioritizing reuse in Virginia. If you haven't heard of Upstream Solutions, they have been around for some time, a few years. Kelly, I believe you're the one that kind of brought this about in the beginning. So feel free to jump in on this. But so they're going to be talking more about how more of a grassroots effort to influence restaurants and other food service industry members to be more sustainable with regards to reusing. So for example, coffee shops, instead of all of those styrofoam or plastic lined paper cups going out into the environment, they have created programs where a customer can walk in, scan a barcode, pick up a stainless steel coffee mug, get their coffee to go in that stainless steel mug, and walk away with it, and then return it at a receptacle in a convenient location in their community. So things like that. They will be talking a little bit about policy, but we are going to be more focused on case studies and ways that we can work with restaurants. We mentioned that a little bit earlier as we're phasing out styrofoam, on ways that they can incorporate reuse into their businesses. So really excited about this. It's going to be on Tuesday, December 14th. So a week before what our usual meeting time would be. It's going to be on Zoom from 2 to 3:30. Sorry, the jets have been flying pretty consistently today. That's that noise. And we have also created a Facebook event page. I'll put that in the chat room. So you can share it on your page, invite your members. If you know of any restaurants, owners, managers that might be interested in hearing about this, we'll certainly share it with Virginia Green and Pearl Businesses. Hoping Surfrider will send it out to their business members. And yeah, I think that's it. Kelly, did you want to add anything about this whole upstream and reuse movement?
No, I love Upstream though. I'm so glad they're coming and talking with you all. They're pretty prominent on the West Coast. And so one of my goals is to try to help them, build more activism over here on the East Coast. And they have two things that I think I posted at one point on a listserv. You can join their government reuse forum, or if you're a nonprofit, their National Reuse Coalition. I might be mixing those up, but something like that. One for the nonprofits and one for the government. So I'm sure Miriam will talk about that, but I highly recommend those meetings too.
Thank you. Great. And so I just wanted to tell you all about it, give you the heads up. It was at the bottom of our event invite for this meeting. And again, I'll share that link to the Facebook page and also the registration page on our website. And hope you all can attend, and please invite, lots and lots of people who want to have a good showing for this. And hopefully after the fact, we will have a lot of action that happens where we can really start building relationships with businesses that need this kind of help to become more sustainable as we do phase out polystyrene. And the other kind of motivation for that too is with with the new law and phasing out polystyrene. They have a few years, so it would be kind of great to get ahead of this and make it known that this isn't going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a big problem, and we can live without styrofoam to-go containers. There are other ways.
Right. So we will ask all of you to promote this with your own membership, because it is going to be open to the public. It's not going to be just for members of this network. So once you get the link, please share it and promote it. And we're hoping to have more than 100 people attend. So we will see.
And just to be clear, if I put it on social and they aren't from Virginia, that's okay too, right? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've already gotten a friend of mine that lives down in South Carolina is interested in watching, and hopefully it will actually influence more from the East Coast to do something for their state. So I think that's absolutely. I think Miriam was pretty excited because with this network, we're able to bring in an entire state and focus on a state to do this with the policies and laws that we have, with that executive order, EO 77, and the universities that are already making these changes. We kind of know what's going on in our little state bubble. So we can kind of influence the conversation, but also hopefully influence other states to also take the same lead.
This is near and dear to my heart. So the sooner you can get it to me, I will start pushing it out.
Sure thing.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to get these three groups all to come to present to us. It's going to be a special day. So mark your calendars, December 14th. And I also have two other announcements if it's time for open announcements. It is. Okay. So this was just announced yesterday. Let me switch and show you. The 7th International Marine Debris Conference was just announced yesterday. It's going to be in September in South Korea. So yeah, it's the first time.
Mother lives there.
The first 6 International Marine Debris Conferences were all held in the US, mostly Hawaii, but also in California. And this one is not going to be sponsored foremost by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The lead this time is from the Republic of Korea. So mark that on your calendar. It's going to be a bit of a haul, but Christina and I both attended and spoke at the 6th International Marine Debris Conference. And I also was at the 5th. And I can tell you the interest in this topic is growing so fast. The 5th International had about 400 people. The 6th sold out at 600. They couldn't take any more people because the hotel was sold out. In fact, Christina and I had 3 or 4 people in our hotel room in order to get as many people there as possible. So I think it's probably going to be a great conference. I hear that English is going to be the main language. So that's exciting. And then the other thing I wanted to announce is the annual Stormwater and Litter Workshop. Clean Virginia Waterways and the Coastal Zone Management Program have sponsored this now. This is the 4th year. It's going to be Thursday, December 9th, and it's going to be on Zoom, and it's free. It's going to be free because we've got some sponsorship from the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay and the Virginia Lakes and Watershed Association, as well as Coastal Zone Management Program. So if you're interested in the intersection of how litter on the street becomes marine debris, please consider attending this workshop, and please sign up soon because we're trying to gauge which software package we need to purchase depending on number of attendees. So far, we have 55 people registered. I will put a link to this in the chat box too. So that's the end of my announcements. Thanks. Any other announcements, updates, new resources, or what is your group doing about plastic pollution? Anybody?
Katie, can you unshare your screen?
I can.
And then we can see everyone's smiling faces, or at least their names.
There we go.
Melody?
Thank you so much for gathering the people for the December 14th. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll share it as widely as I can. But I just wanted to do a real short, I look at the 6 months that we did education and action around the Choose to Refuse Single-Use Plastic July event. And the last thing we did in August and September was passing out free, lovely, reusable bags at grocery stores. So we were talking to people as they were coming in, and people that were from other states that had laws where you couldn't, there was no plastic bags and you had to bring your own. I mean, they were coming in with no reusable bag because there's no laws here. So we heard that a fair amount of times that if there is a law, people will change their behavior. If there's not a law or legislation, they don't. So I'm hoping that we can get to the legislation part even more. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Even that 5-cent fee that we're going to be implementing, hopefully around the state, will make a difference for sure. I mean, I don't see why anyone would pay 5 cents for a plastic bag if they don't actually need it. Just bring your own bag. It's not hard. That's just me.
Christine, is that, well, that is all it takes. Is that actually going in January? No.
So there's 5 localities that have implemented that fee, and your locality has to do it. Like, it's not a statewide. Let's see, Mark, with your hand up. But Mark and I and Lynn Haven River now, we're working on Virginia Beach, and I believe, I'm not real clear on the language. If we get our city council to pass it, does it have to wait until January, or is there like a 60-day wait time? How does that work?
There's a 3-month wait time that's in the law. So the 5 communities that passed that law so far, they are all going to start January 1st with a 5-cent fee. If your community passes that law today, it has to either wait till April or August. And this is just time for the word to get out to the stores and for the tax department to know, okay, now your going to be part of this, and we need to collect taxes from your county as well. They call it a tax. We call it a fee. Right. So if you want to learn more, I'm going to put in the
Yeah,
chat.
there's a mandatory waiting period or period of, I guess they call it like an implementation time
Right.
before it can be enacted, even after you pass the ordinance. So, and that clock starts once you pass the ordinance in your locality. So as Katie said, the very first ones will go into effect January 1, I believe.
Correct.
Katie, I think I missed a couple meetings, so I think you may have addressed it there, but is there a way you can share ordinances, 1 or 2 from the 5 communities that have done that?
Yes, actually, we've created, Clean Virginia Waterways has a web page. I just put it in the chat. And it's talks about the fee on plastic bags. And there's a link on our webpage that takes you to a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet tells you which counties have passed an ordinance, and there's also links to their exact language. And if any of you learn about your community is talking about this, please let us know so we can keep that spreadsheet up to date.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if I could, I'd just like to add that somehow Arlington and Alexandria adopted this ordinance on an emergency basis, so they did not have to wait 90 days. They adopted the ordinance in October, and it's going into effect January 1st. So there is some way around the 90-day delay, at least to some extent.
Great.
And now that we have passed it, now we're working on trying to make sure that the revenue from the taxes is close to zero as we can get it. Hopefully nobody actually buys any 5-cent bags.
Thank you, Dean.
Melody, does that help you? Does that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mark, did you have anything to announce? I saw you had your hand up. I wasn't sure if that was for this topic or if you had something else going.
Yeah, I was going to say something about it, but then you started talking about it. So, we are working locally here in Virginia Beach, and there's also an effort in Norfolk, Virginia as well to get this plastic bag fee enacted. It's been a bit of a slow rollout, and I think we still have a fair amount of work to do. I'm not sure how the election will influence this one way or the other, but we still have plans to move forward sometime soon here in Virginia Beach, and I think there's a sort of a companion effort going on in Norfolk, Virginia as well. It'd be nice to get a few of the first localities down here in the eastern part of the state to sort of balance things out a little bit. And so we're working on it.
Hey, Becky, is that Becky from Chesapeake that I see on here? Maybe not. Okay, I was wondering if Chesapeake's got anything going on. CEIC.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
Christine.
Becky.
Yeah, hey, I'm in my car, so I had to find the right button. Yeah, we're kind of waiting to see what Norfolk and Virginia Beach do, as usual. But we have been talking about it, just, how to kind of ease into it.
One of the things that we've talked about in our deliberations around and discussions around how to move this forward is a few years back when we were still working on the balloon issue, we got endorsements from a number of local organizations for the issue. One of them, an example, was the Planning District Commission endorsed the effort. And so that I know there's some people on the call here, so that kind of endorsement of groups for the effort would be very valuable as we take this to the different city council groups and present it to them. So if anybody on the call has any thoughts about how we could do that, including maybe having some of our team show up at a meeting to present the issue and discuss it and talk about the why it's a good idea and why we should move forward with it. So that would be useful.
Remember too that there is a database of data that volunteers have collected over the years during cleanups. Any cleanup that wants to be part of the International Coastal Cleanup can do so just by collecting data. I know the aquarium has done cleanups for years and years and years where they collect data. And so if you want data on how prevalent plastic bags are in your community, contact me. In fact, we're going to be recording a little training session next week on how anyone can go into this international database. It's online, it's free, and how you can grab data for your community, your county, your state, because we found local policy decision makers want local data. They're like, I don't care if it's the second biggest thing in Virginia. What is it where we live? So we're happy to help you grab that data.
Katie, that was really useful for us. We had data that for the last 19 years of our stream cleanups, plastic bags was the #1 thing we had. And it was something like 30% of all the trash we collected.
Yeah, it was amazing up there in Arlington and Fairfax. I think plastic bags tend to be the 3rd most common thing in Virginia, but in urban areas, it's often #1. Yeah, amazing. So good. Thanks for the endorsement of using data.
Yeah, it does have the distinction of being always usually the most visible too when you're driving down the road. You know, it's often the most visible thing that you see. So most people are pretty aware of it when you make them think about it or convince them to think about it.
Right. And communities like in Chesapeake and trying to think of Isle of Wight and some of those other communities that have cotton fields. Cotton farmers hate plastic bags because when they get harvested and the plastic bags get harvested with the cotton, it can ruin the value of an entire huge bale of cotton. So those of you in those communities, make sure you talk to the cotton farmers when you're looking for endorsements, because that's an economic impact.
I remember seeing several years ago, I'm pretty sure it was at a Surfrider Foundation meeting. There was a state that was trying to pass a bag ban. It might have been New York, and they created an app where if you saw a plastic bag, you could photograph it and tag it, and it had the location already embedded in it. And then it would automatically upload to their website somehow. So all of, the map of New York was there, and then every single image of a plastic bag, was represented by a little dot or whatever, and you could click on that dot and see the location and the picture of the bag. And it was really effective because it really showed the prevalence of that type of litter. It's kind of like I think it's the NOAA Marine Debris app, where you can go on their website and look at the map of everything that you've collected and where you can look at your trash, everybody else's trash. I don't have the skill set to figure out how to do that, but that would be really kind of an interesting addition to our network website if it's something that someone can figure out how to do. I don't know, but I thought it was really effective. Just seeing that map and like all these people from all around the state just uploading picture after picture after picture of plastic bags that they were seeing out in the environment. I don't know, it might be a useful tool for other localities that are looking to pass the ban or the fee. Does anyone else have any updates or fun things to talk about? Plastic pollution.
Okay, I'll go one more time. This was not my idea. I was speaking to a Sierra Club group here in Virginia, and one of them asked if there was one place that you could go in Virginia to get a list of all of the stores that sold refillable items, like place you can go and get your bottle of shampoo refill, things like that. And I did not know of one list. Is there one that you're not in your head? Okay, because I thought if there's not a list, maybe that's something our network put together. So what do you know about that, Christina? You're on mute.
I have to look for it, but I believe it's actually Virginia based.
Okay, great.
And it lists all of the refill. I have to look at it. I remember seeing it. It's been a while, but it was all about refill, like locations for different refill shops. And I don't know if it included grocery stores. It might have. I know like Whole Foods has refill, and even our local Kroger started adding more refill. Now, whether or not they allow you to bring your own container in, you better fill up your container before they catch you.
Well, that'll be good. If you find it, let's share that, and I'll then share it with that Sierra Club that asked about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to actually throw something out there for you guys. I'm putting my Ecomaniac company hat on right now. Me and my dad recently purchased an excessive number of glass reusable straws, and I just happen to have one with me here. They come in either a box or a nice little pouch, and they make great volunteer gifts. People can carry them around with them. That's the pouch. Or you can get a little box where you can put like a little thank you for being a volunteer message on it. My jets. But if y'all are looking, and there is no supply chain issue, they're literally a half a mile away from my house sitting in a storage unit. So if you're looking for some kind of gift, that's the little box. It's got a nice little straw and a cleaning brush in it. I tell you what, if you guys are using straws and using reusable straws, my favorite has always been the glass straw. Yes, they are scary and they'll break if they hit tile, but there's no flavor, there's no taste. And a lot of these ones are clear, so you can actually see inside them to make sure that you're not growing anything in there, whether or not it might need to be cleaned. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you guys, I've got enough, and if you want to get some for your volunteers or your staff, I'm happy to work with you on that. I'd like to see more people using reusable straws out there in the world.
Absolutely. All right, well, last call for any updates, new resources, upcoming events, anything else you want to share? And if not, we can end early, but again, ask you to promote the December 14th event, open to the public, great speakers, great topics.
I added the Facebook page link and the registration page link in the chat room. And we'll send it out in the newsletter that I'm going to finish this week after you all send me a lot of content to add to it.
Great. Okay. Well, I don't hear anybody else jumping on with new ideas to share. So thank you again. Happy Thanksgiving. Let me be the first to wish everybody that. And we will see you in December.
Hey, Tina.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you give me a call right after this?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't know if we could stay on here or not, but you can just call me.
We can stay on here, right, Katie?